What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. So continuing from last week, someone left a comment saying that there's actually more FighterZ Dojo tutorials than what they have available. You can unlock more by playing in the Tournament of Power, which, by the way, we still don't have a Tournament of Power stage, and they need to hurry up and just like add that to the game. I don't know what they're doing. So last week on stream, I played a bunch of the Tournament Power modes to just unlock a bunch of them. I'm almost done. I think I only have like a couple, maybe like two more. So we're going to continue this series of adding to the FighterZ Dojo. More tips that the FighterZ Dojo does not tell you. Again, if you like this video or any of the other videos I put out, I encourage you to please like this video or subscribe to the channel, or do both if you haven't already. It does help the channel grow a lot. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are back in the FighterZ Dojo, and as you can see, there are way more people here. So I've been grinding the Tournament of Power. You can see poor Zamasu, he teaches you about Snap, and they put him in the back corner on purpose because they nerf Snap a lot. It'd be like that. But once again, the FighterZ Dojo is basically a really in-depth tutorial, and now that I've unlocked more and looked at some of what the game teaches you, this is really a tutorial that's been made by the players. A lot of the things I've seen in the FighterZ Dojo are all tactics that various people have come up with through playing, watching other people playing, etc. It actually is a pretty good, almost like love letter to the people who played the game. Because remember, in the original Dragon Ball FighterZ Season 1, the tutorial was more or less a joke, and they didn't really tell you anything about the game at all. We basically had to find out through playing and using training mode and doing that over and over and over. So with that, we are continuing this series of things that the FighterZ Dojo does not tell you. And of course, this is based off the tutorial themselves, so I'm just kind of filling in gaps that they missed. They have mostly so far have done a really good job with a lot of the things. So first, we're going to clear up a little bit more about vanish. So the FighterZ Dojo talks about blocking vanish, what to do after you block a vanish, and different situations that can come up with vanish. Now, one thing they mention is that against strings like this, if someone just does a vanish in a block string, why don't people do that? So when the game came out in Season 1, people really were doing that. It's an easy way to get plus frames. But we quickly discovered that these are basically can all be reflected on reaction. Like that. You can push them off. Now, one thing to note is that if this happens with your back to the wall, you get a guaranteed combo. I did something pretty basic. I just did jump L, but you can actually get a medium starter here into whatever you want. In this case, I would probably do this kind of combo and do a lot of damage. Also of note too is that if they do a string like this, as we know, you cannot mash in between it. So if I got like a successful 2H, I would get hit. But you can do frame 1 invincible things, like level 3. If you have a DP, you could do that. So that's something to keep in mind. It is pretty hard to do. You don't even see high-level players doing it. This is the type of thing that always near the end of the season, like when I was playing Team Gohan, for example, I was like, oh man, I should really train myself to do this. And like, no one really gets around to doing it. So one last thing to note is about my old friend Yamcha. So he could do what we are talking about before with the using the frame 1 move to beat this. He's got EX scale claws, of course. And of course, he can level 3 like anyone else, but there's also about reflect. So remember that the game says that you generally cannot punish this, right? But Yamcha can punish this. Yamcha is pretty much the only character who could punish it. You have to be pretty fast, but he gets a guaranteed punish on that with EX Wolf Fang Fist. So next up, we talk about sparking. So the game tells you a lot about when to use sparking, using sparking on defense, guards cancel sparking, etc. Now, one really quiet thing they added to the game back in Season 2, and it's not widely known, is about using your sparking to attack their sparking. So what do I mean? So when they activate sparking, you get you recover life pretty quickly, right? So if you look at their life bar, okay, and they're just getting that life back. Now compare this to if you are in sparking when you hit them, right? So I'll do the same combo. So not only am I doing more damage, but I'm also doing more blue life. So what this means is that if you are attacking somebody and they're in sparking and you want to kill that character, You should, if you really want that character to die, and especially their second character or their last character, if you have your sparking available, you should try to use it, because not only are you going to get more meter to use on supers, and remember, if you don't know, level 1s attack sparking really directly too, like they can't gain that life back. So you're getting more meter to do level 1s, you're doing more damage than normal, and you're dealing more blue life, so it's less life for the opponent to recover. If you go back and watch a lot of like high level tournament play from season 2, you'll see this tactic used quite often by high level players. So next is a quick little note about throw level 3. So the game recommends for you to say jump or backstep to avoid throw level 3s. You could actually do, there's way more ways you can avoid throw level 3s. As long as you're off the ground, you will avoid it. So in this example, I have him doing overhead like this, so it's gonna miss, I get counter hit. Or another one will be if I do something like this, a super dash. So you can grab that, but it's pretty hard to time it that way. If they're mashing, you're going to get hit. So just keep in mind that any airborne move will avoid the throw. You don't have to backstep, you don't have to jump specifically. Just anything that puts you airborne will avoid that reversal throw. Okay, and the last point is knockdown. So there's actually quite a bit to discuss here. They do tell you how to do the various techs, and I haven't explained it in my videos before, how to do the various techs and stuff like that. But I'm going to take this from a different perspective. So first, I want to talk about up tech, and specifically, why would you not want to up tech, right? So the positive sides are you're off the ground, right? So you can't be hit by high lows. If they hit you with certain types of setups, then if you get hit on purpose, you'll get out. But the downside is you can't reflect, and most characters have bad air reversals. So up-teching might put you in a worse situation than if you try to do delay down or delay up. So for instance, something like this. Is a pretty bad spot. As you can see, I have a ton of frame advantage to work with. It's like plus 42, which means I have a mad time to mix you up, do a lot of stuff. This is close to the equivalent of doing base Vegeta's level 3 after tossing them up. If I block this on the ground, I would not have as much frame advantage to work with. So you might ask, when do I pick what tech? The place you want to start is you definitely want to try to be unpredictable. You definitely want to try to counter what the other person is looking for. We could start with the corner here. I personally recommend to default to delay down tech to see just what your opponent likes to do. The thing about lying down there on the ground like that is that you can see what your opponent is doing and then make a choice. When you get up, it is the same as just getting up normally with a back tech or in-place tech, right? You have the same options available. You have your reversals, you have your reflect, you have everything available that you don't have necessarily available if you up tech. So I would definitely recommend to start with delay down first and then see what they like to do. If they don't have an assist, up tech is pretty strong. The example I showed you requires an assist for me to get that extra frame advantage. If base Vegeta is alone, it's a little bit harder to do something like that. Now from there, you want to see what they like to do. So more advanced players generally have setups to try to cover stuff as best as they can and keep their offense. But lower level players will tend to show you what they like to do. So for instance, let's say I knock down like this. So what a lower level player will do is they think you're going to neutral tech, tech in place, whatever, back tech, or delay down. So they'll run at your down tech like that, right? If you see them do that, try to up tech, right? If you see them do a setup, which usually you jump heavy or something, then you could just tech normal. Now, last thing would be for mid screen too. Remember that the rule generally is when they knock you down like this, they generally can't cover everything alone. So use the same rule I just told you. So if they look like they're chasing your down techs a lot, then up tech. If they do a setup to beat your up tech, try to do down tech instead so that they go over you and then you can get away. So what type of characters are good against knockdown? So if you have assists, basically any character. You can build something with any character that will cover the techs. Besides that, characters that have ways of covering both techs with their special moves or key blasts are also really good. Base Vegeta and Trunks are a really good example. The example I give all the time with Trunks, one example would be something like this. The patented LK safe jump, where this covers both techs and I'm safe like that. Another one would be meaty change future, etc. And the last is, there's not that many characters who have this, but characters who have really long active auto combos are actually pretty good against this. Right? Because you can time your attacks after your safe jump so that you attack their delayed down tech anyway, because his is so long. Look how many attacks it is. Okay, hopefully that helped. Again, I'm not done with the FighterZ Dojo. There's a little bit more, so I could see there being like one more of these videos potentially. Hopefully this helps somebody. I do really recommend, if you're new to the game, to definitely try out the FighterZ Dojo. It is a really good tutorial for the game. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they are pretty thorough with each topic. Like the first one I did last week, it was pretty easy to see stuff that they missed, but this week it was kind of harder. And then again, I only have a couple more left, so there can't be that much more. I am also planning on making a video of stuff that the FighterZ Dojo tells you to do that you shouldn't do, so definitely look forward to that. There are a couple of things I saw where I was like, huh, who does that? Like, why would you do that? Again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.